Hi everyone. For my time to teach, I focus on morning meetings, and I focused on why morning meetings can be beneficial for the teacher and her class. So there are so many different reasons as to why that could be. Um, so I'm going to basically talk a little bit about morning meetings and just kind of explain to you guys why they could be helpful for you in your classroom and the environment of your classroom. My audience is our new teachers, um, people student teaching as well, and teachers that don't really consider morning meetings. Morning meetings are a responsive classroom model or approach, and morning meetings just make the students in the classroom um, feel safe and supported, and they feel like they're ready to learn. So I'm going to, well, the second half of the video, I'm going to be modeling what morning meeting may look like. Obviously, it is going to be different depending on who you are as a teacher, what you think, whatever. But just like your typical morning meeting, what that could look like and what goes into morning meetings. So, yes, like I said, I'm gonna show you guys a little bit about morning meetings. What should I start with first? So, like I said earlier, morning meetings provide a sense of trust for your students. With the message, the schedule, everything that's included within the morning meeting, students feel that sense of trust, and they perform better, knowing that you and the other students in the classroom are trusting of. And I think that morning meetings, if it does build trust, then why wouldn't you consider doing morning meetings in the morning to start your day? So, morning meetings provide students with a message. Messages for morning meeting are just a little way to say good morning, good afternoon. It's a morning message. Just a good way to say good morning and check in on everyone, see how everyone's doing. Gives the students a schedule. I know that it's very important to, well, at least for me, and I'm sure a lot of students as well, it's important to kind of know what's going on in your day, just so you can check things off personally, or so students can look forward to something during their day. So yeah, that's one reason why morning meetings, what they provide. So not only do they provide a message and maybe a schedule for students, it's a good start to the day. Students go from their home life to school, and that could be a little a rough transition. So getting them, ready for the day is helpful for you as a teacher. And if morning meetings are a good way to start the day for the students, then I would definitely consider morning meetings. So morning meetings are an engaging way to start the day. There are certain things that do go into morning meetings. So morning meetings roughly go from like 20 to 30 minutes. Honestly, it all depends on the teacher. Each day you'll get together and, sit in a circle on the rug or something along those lines, and you will, 1, start with a morning greeting, 2, share, 3, there's a group activity included, and 4, your morning message. Like I said, there's no particular order that it goes in. Personally, I would like to start with the morning message, so that way, you can get that done, and so the kids are aware what's going on throughout their day. So morning meetings are for everyone, and I think once we get to a certain age group, we just kind of forget about morning meetings because we don't think that the older grades can benefit from morning meetings, and I don't think that's true. Last semester in my classroom management classroom, every single day we had a new morning meeting, and what we learned is it does build trust. We did feel that trust within everyone. We knew a little bit about everyone when they shared what they needed to share, and by the end of the day, each day, we just grew a little bit closer, and I think that the morning meetings really did help with that. So it is for everyone, no matter what age group. Even college kids can do it, and they enjoy it. So morning meetings touch on diverse learning needs. It provides communication support for students with speech and language challenges, which means it could give students extra time to form their thoughts and teaches other students to be patient. So patience is really important. I think a lot of students that are just kind of sitting in morning meeting, don't really sitting there not saying much, aren't really given the chance to, talk for a morning meeting. So just a reminder for the other students in the classroom that patience is important, and that's just one skill that they will be learning when doing the morning meetings. So another thing is provides physical support. So what that means is you're more fidgety, the kids that have a hard time sitting still, I would give them something to, keep their attention. So, well, depending on how you guys feel about this, fidget spinners, fidget toys are good for your students. I think that just giving them something to play with while being in the morning meeting could definitely help you guys as a group and the student as well, to get through morning meetings. So provides physical support. So like I said, provide the toy and fidget toys, and group activities that involve movement as well. So those kids that do have a hard time sitting still, the group activity is a good time for you to include something that involves movement. Everyone learns differently, and that's just a great way to get the kids that enjoy learning through movement. It gives them a time to learn through movement and be able to get up and move around, so that way they're not sitting there and getting impatient or things like that. So some students struggle with hearing sensitivity and sensitive ears, things like that. Morning meetings can get very loud, and I think that's the fun in it. Like, it gets exciting, and students do get loud, clapping happens, yelling happens, but we do need to consider the kids that aren't too big of fans of that. So when singing songs, you could maybe sing songs and whisper, or when you're chanting, you could maybe whisper as well. Clapping could be snaps instead, or a silent clap, things like that, just so the kids with the sensory problems don't have a problem with morning meeting, and they can participate as well. So another thing is morning meetings teach inclusiveness. So what's very important is for the teacher to model what that may look like and practice skills, so the students can communicate in certain ways to each other. Morning meeting is very free, And I think that, like the way you converse with each other can be more free than having a conversation in school during the school day. So, you know, make morning meeting a little bit less of a strict, what am I trying to say? I'm going to say it again, make morning meeting more free for students. Yeah, so another thing that we have to consider with morning meeting is we do have students that tend to sit there and not want to participate. We have to consider those students when planning for morning meetings and doing your morning meetings. Students with special needs sometimes don't want to be bothered and they don't want to participate with morning meetings. So a good way to get them involved is to think about your past morning meetings and how you can change those so that way you don't have those students sitting and they can participate as well. So after each morning meeting, take the time to reflect and figure out what you can do differently to make your morning meetings better. So yeah, just take the time to reflect after each morning meeting so that way you know what you can do next. So like I said, morning meetings started with a more responsive classroom approach. That was the point of it. So goals for morning meetings. There are many goals for morning meetings and why morning meetings are such a good thing within the classroom. It provides a sense of trust for the students and the teacher and the students as well. I think it does build a sense of trust. I did say that earlier, and trust is very important when it comes to your classroom, or it should be at least. It allows all students to feel important. So when students are able to share and speak and get a chance to start the group game or be in the middle for the group activity, it just builds that sense of importance and allows the students to feel like they are doing something for the classroom and for the teacher as well. It encourages respectful learning. The students are going to learn that, when someone else is speaking, we're going to sit there and be patient and listen. Someone else is talking, we're going to give them their turn, and then after that, I can talk next. Things like that. It helps regulate emotions. It boosts empathy and teamwork. Along with trust, going off of what I said with trust, I think it does build teamwork. The activities and the things that you learn about each other definitely builds that sense of teamwork. And I think that is very important when building a bond within your classroom. Earlier I said that it separates home life to school life and prepares them for the day. I said that earlier as well. And morning meetings are done so differently, and you can do morning meetings in such a different way that it supports all aspects of learning. It teaches academic, social, emotional learning as well. In one article that I've read, it talked about one school that focused less on the learning aspect during morning meeting and focused more on the social and emotional sense of learning. And it really did help them personally as a classroom. I need to read more about it, but I just thought I'd throw that in there. One thing that I thought was important for morning meeting is to communicate with parents. I know this could be a little tricky and people could think this is a little, but I definitely think that communicating with parents is important for morning meetings, to let them know what's going on and what's included within morning meetings. And, if it works for you, depending on who you are and how comfortable you feel about this, ask if they want to stay for morning meetings. And it's a short period of time, so they won't be there for long, but just asking if they want to stick around for morning meetings could go a long way. So for this half of the video, I'm kind of going to be walking you through what morning meetings may look like and what's included within morning meetings. So, I'm going to start with my morning message, and I made one for you guys today. Looks like this. Obviously with morning messages you can, in one of my classrooms we did PowerPoints and we typed out our morning messages, and within the morning message people made them very interactive, so they put blanks in their morning message or misspelled words and included things like that, so that way students in the classroom could come up and fill in the blank or fix the word that's misspelled, things like that. So my morning message says, "Good afternoon, Miss Williams, amazing students. Today is April blank 2020, and this means next Monday is the start to a new week. We will be doing things a little differently. What can you do differently next week so that you can be a more supportive friend?" So I included a blank just so you got a sense, the student would come up, fill in the blank, but I also did it because the day that I made this doesn't match up to the day I will submit my time to teach. I made it interactive for you guys if I was with you guys. So what I would be doing is I would give each of you guys or the students a sticky note, and I would have you guys what you would want to do differently next week so that you can be a more supportive friend. And I would have you give you guys time to write that out, and I would have you guys come up to the board or the paper and stick the sticky notes onto the message, and then you can look at what other people said, and as a class you can go over what other people said. So make your morning meetings fun and interactive as possible. So number 2, I did a greeting activity. So for the greeting activity, that's more of a way to say hi to your other classmates and just really mix up the class, and so students that aren't friends are actually talking to other students in the classroom and getting to know all of the students in the classroom, not just their friends. It does happen, but we'd want to try to mix up our students as much as possible. So I have some examples of what a greeting could look like. So the first example is a matching greeting game or greeting activity. This one involves math. So I included this one because it's very easy to pair your students and get them talking, but with this it's more interactive, and it's also incorporating other content as well. So with this math greeting activity, you would give students a mix of an equation and an answer. So some students would get the equation and some students would get the answer of the equation. So for example, I would have 1 plus 1 on my index card or something, and another student would have 2, the answer. And when it's time, I will go find my matching card, and that would be my partner for that round. And for the greeting, the teacher could ask questions like your favorite season and why, your favorite foods and why, things like that. So it's a good way to get everyone talking. We definitely need to encourage, the students to talk to, not just their friends. Another thing is, the ball greeting. I know a lot of us have done that in the classroom. I feel like that's very classic for morning meeting. You start with one person starts with the ball, you pass it, you introduce yourself, and the teacher could, ask a question or ask something to that student. They answer and then move on to the next person. So that one I feel like a lot of us have done. It's very simple. You can also use your popsicle sticks. That's little less engaging, but it does get the job done. So, yeah. I'm going to move on to group activities. So group activities are pretty self-explanatory. They're just group games, group activities in the classroom. You can make your group activities as close to your content as possible. You can come up with your own group activities, or you can find them online like I did. One that I actually did in my past class when we were working on morning meetings was the human knot. And we did the whole class, and that really didn't work out so well, but that's a good game to get everyone laughing and, talking to each other, thinking about your next move, things like that. I would definitely focus on the older grades with the human knot, maybe try it with the younger grades as well, but that's a good one. Another one is Indian Chief, that I feel like is a popular morning meeting game as well. And one of my favorites it's called All My Friends Like, and that one is you get in a circle and one person's in the middle, and they get to say what their friends like. So for example, I would be in the middle and I would say, all my friends like pizza, and everyone who likes pizza in that circle will switch spots with someone else, and the last person standing gets to say the next thing. So that's just another group activity or group game for you guys to think about. There's so many online, and yeah, so the final thing is sharing. Sharing is very important to me personally. I think it's a time for everyone to be able to build that trust because you're talking about yourself. I talked about myself personally within my class when I was sharing. I brought in a bunch of pictures that explained me as a person and who I am as a person. Try to stay away from having the kids bring in like expensive things because not everyone in the classroom is able to afford those things. Definitely focus more on sharing things that matter to you personally or make up who you are as an individual. So some people brought in stuffed animals, some people brought in like pictures like I did as well, cooking utensils, like just a bunch of random things that do describe who you are as a person. And I think that's extremely important for the other students in the classroom to know about you. There's a lot we don't know about each other because school is, you can only, have time to talk about so much. You only have recess to talk to your friends and stuff. So I think that it's a good time for you to be able to share about yourself personally. What I want to talk about lastly is basically I just wanted to kind of go over what morning meeting looks like, and I know that morning meeting is so broad that you can come up with so many different things to include within your morning meetings, and I encourage that as well. Like I said earlier, teachers should be reflecting on how their morning meetings go. I think that each day learning a little bit more about your classroom and the environment within your classroom and how it's going during morning meeting is important because you can adjust your morning meetings the next day so that way they're helpful for another learning style and another student in the classroom that could be sitting there. So we definitely need to consider a lot of things when planning our morning meetings. I think it's fun to plan. I think there's so many fun things that you and your class can do to make it your good. It's a good transition from home to school life, so it'd be a good way to take the stress off the students in the classroom and even the teachers as well. So I hope you guys enjoyed this and enjoyed hearing what morning meetings look like and what goes into morning meetings and how they could benefit you in your class. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and hopefully I'll see you guys soon. Bye!